Yeah, man. So we went back and forth a little bit on Twitter the other day. I did a little bit of research, and I want to come back and address that with you.
All right, let's switch on over to Rumble real quick. Guys, come on over to Rumble, rumble.com/Fresh&Fit. We're going to finish this pod over there. So come on over, guys. And then we're going to do the IRL stream here right after.
Let's go.
All right. So I went back and forth about, the red pill versus the trad content.
After the show.
Did a little bit of research. I was getting my information.
Hold on, caller. Hold on. Guys, we're going to switch on over to Rumble, rumble.com/Fresh&Fit. Guys, come on over. Are we good?
Yeah, we good.
We're good. We're on Rumble now? All right, caller, go ahead. What's your thing?
All right, so I saw the back and forth between you and Chase about red pill and then the trad pill content.
Sure.
Went back and forth with you, did a little bit more research, and I wanted to address some of the points that I made in that tweet.
Okay.
So your point was that a lot of streamers,
what's your Twitter handle?
90%, I believe, don't provide any value to the streaming space. And my point was that what exactly is the value that you provide? And I put a couple examples up. I said, the 9-to-5 grind, fitness, getting money, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But realistically, my biggest thing is going to be about your hate about religion and Christianity as a whole. I did a little bit of research as to what you actually provide. I was given some sources, and I got to give you the credit where credit's due, because you do provide about job interviews. You've done lots of stuff on fitness, and I can give you that. That's generic sort of thing. But realistically, I got to ask, so when it comes down to Christianity and everything about that, what is your beef with Christianity? What is the problem with wanting to promote a more traditional lifestyle that's in the life of Christ?
All right, so number one, I think I remember who you are, just so the audience gets up to speed. You made the claim that we don't provide value, right? Because I said most streamers don't provide value, and then you try to say that we don't provide value. Then I outlined all the things that we do where we do provide value, so you change your mind. You agree now that we do provide value, and even though you're trying to downplay and say it's generic, correct?
Yeah, I believe that you do provide some value. I will give you that point, but my main beef still.
Hold on, I'm going to address the Christian thing. I'm going to address that in a second. But okay, so you said it's generic. How's it generic when we give specific information on how to get into certain job fields and how to make money in certain professions from a direct perspective with experts? How is that generic? Because we're pretty specific on a lot of the stuff we go over.
Okay, so when it comes down to the genericness of it, so I'll start off with fitness. We'll address that first.
Sure, go ahead.
I'm not saying that you're not giving any value. What I'm saying is that the value you give with regards to fitness is in and of itself pretty generic. It's not something they couldn't get from somebody else. And realistically speaking, I'm not trying to hate on you all about your physique or anything. I don't know what you look like, but it doesn't appear like you're a big personal trainer. That's not really your forte. It's not really something that I would consider you to be an expert on. And I know you don't have to be an expert to give your take, your advice, your views on that. But what exactly would the value be from your fitness advice as opposed to a personal trainer, YouTube videos on fitness? Because I haven't seen you do anything of that sort. You kind of talk generally about it, and I was just wondering how that's actual value.
So if you tuned into any of our shows before, I've gave very specific and detailed information on how to lose weight and or how to build muscle based on that person's personal question. So that's not generic, because I'm not saying bullshit like, oh, just exercise and eat less, bro. No, I tell them, yo, you need to calculate your calories. You got to use MyFitnessPal to do it. You got to train 3 to 4 times per week, use compound movements, etc. I'm pretty descriptive. And then on top of that, I brought on an actual scientist that does research in the lab when it comes to fitness. Matter of fact, we're bringing him back on Monday. So I get extremely specific in a lot of things if people ask for it. Obviously, I'll go ahead and give the general, and then if people want to go ahead, that's why we have these call-in shows. If they want to ask more particular things, we go into more detail. I've answered hundreds, maybe at this point, even thousands of questions when it comes to fitness from a very specific level. So I would regard myself as highly experienced, and I would say I'm pretty much an expert because I do read the research when it comes to fitness. I don't show it as much on Fresh and Fit because there's not a demand for it like that, but I have talked about it in detail when people ask questions. So I would argue that it's not generic whatsoever because a lot of the stuff that I answer is very specific information. And I've brought scientists on.
And I, like I said in the beginning of this call, I did a little bit more research into what you provide, and it's good information. It's not the best in the world. I wouldn't consider you to be a renowned, head of the industry on this, but you have definitely provided some information, and I will give you that point. like I said, my main.
But it's not generic, bro.
Really
but the thing is that hold on. You're trying to downplay it and say that it's generic, etc. Number one, we provide it for absolutely free. There's people that charge tens of thousands of dollars for the information that we provide to you guys a lot of times, but we do it for absolutely for free. Number two, we go specific into it, and we even have a call-in show like this. It takes a lot of balls to do a live show and answer questions and criticisms live on air from people that are randoms that got, a bunch of shit to say about us negatively, or people that want to see us fail. Because the reality is there's a lot of people that hate watch us. So we are not generic whatsoever. Of course, some of the content might be generic, but then if people ask for more details, we're able to go into more details based on the topic at hand, and we bring experts in certain aspects. So I would argue it's not generic whatsoever.
Okay. And we'll just have to agree to disagree on that. You're obviously in good shape. I'm not saying you're not. What I'm saying is that the content regarding fitness, really, it's some value. It's not a great value. I do commend you for doing it for free. I do commend you for taking criticism live and taking calls that takes balls. So if you want to move on to the next point, that's fine.
And here's the other thing, too. There's no other podcast that provides the kind of value that we do as consistently as we do, 2 times per day,
every week,
3 times per week, 6 shows per week, including the Fed Reacts, and for absolutely free. No other podcast does that. So I don't think it's generic at all, because we go into details as well. But if you want to call it generic, that's fine.
Okay. So the second point that I made about not really providing a lot of advice on how to make money, I looked into it. People provided me sources. That's not really something that I want to rest my hat on at this point, because I did see your videos about job interviews. I've watched more clips about actually when you go in about, talking about people, how to get jobs, how to keep
credit
jobs,
scores,
how to make more money,
how to buy real estate in detail. I go into detail. We did a whole step-by-step real estate. We have the most. I would say right now on YouTube, we probably have the best step-by-step guide on how to buy real estate on YouTube by far. That's updated for 2023 and 2024.
Right.
That's not generic.
And that's what I was trying to say is my original comment was more focused on those two, but my main contention.
All right, let's go ahead and hit the Christian thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, my main contention is going to be with the Christianity debate that's been going on back and forth. And I wanted to know what exactly your beef is with that sort of lifestyle, with promoting that sort of content and that sort of, view on the world. And now you can call them hypocrites, and I can agree with that in certain regards. How can you preach to things that you yourself have done in your life and tell people that that's not the way to be, even though you've lived it? I understand the argument on the other side of that, which is I've done this and I'm a good person to be able to say what to do and what not to do because I've experienced and walked down that road. But I wanted to know what exactly it was that your contention was with that.
First and foremost, I have no problem with anyone that's Christian or religious. I actually applaud that because I think religion is a fantastic foundation to live a good life, and it keeps you grounded, right? Because if you don't believe in God or some kind of superior being, a lot of the times you go into degeneracy and a bunch of fuck shit. So I have no problem with Christianity or any religion of the book that helps people become better people. I actually said this last episode. That's number one. Number two, my beef isn't with Christianity or religion whatsoever. My beef is with men not understanding how female nature works in 2024. So what I want guys to do is I want guys to be red pill aware and understand how women move in today's day and age. Not back in the 1920s or the 1950s when religion was an actual buffer to the fuckery that females put men through, okay? So I want guys to go into relationships with their eyes wide open and be red pill aware. Now, they have 2 paths they can go, okay? As Uncle Ben said, with great power comes great responsibility. They can either A, use this knowledge that I provide them and move accordingly, right? Obviously still believe in God, still go to church, maybe go to the synagogue or go to the mosque. Regardless, they have this information and they can continue to worship and do what they want to do and they can live that life in religious, but I want them to be aware of how women are today. Because religion, unfortunately, even though you might be religious and you might be a man of God, these women aren't. Okay, and I want men to be able to detect these women, identify these women, and then move accordingly with these women. That's number one. Or they can go the other path and use this power to sleep with as many women as they want. My point is this. I want to arm you with the tools so you understand female nature. How you move after the fact is completely up to you. I'm not going to attack someone for being religious, but at the same time, I'm not going to attack someone that wants to go out and smash a bunch of girls. What the Christ pill gets wrong is they think that I sit here and promote degeneracy. No, I promote knowledge. If you choose to be a degenerate with the knowledge I provide,
that's on you.
Fine. But the point is that I want you to have the tool set to do what you want to do, right? Do guns kill people or do people kill people?
Right. People.
Okay. So if I give you a gun, you can choose whether, or I give you a knife, you could choose whether you want to make, great food. You could be a fucking top tier chef. You could be some Emeril Lagasse type shit, or you could run around stabbing people like you're Ted Bundy. But the point is that I give you the tool and you choose how you want to move with that tool. Now, my thing is when I criticize religion, when it comes to female nature, religion does not equip you with the necessary tools and prerequisite knowledge to date in 2023 and 2024. Okay? Because even though you're religious, these women aren't. So I want guys to be adapted to the new normal. Now, I get criticized a lot for saying, hey, you should hook up with 50 girls before you get married. The reason why I say this is because it puts you in a position where you're going to be able to identify a gold digger here, a clout chaser here, a girl that is a sugar baby here, a girl that's a whore here, a good girl here. So I want guys to be able to identify these women and know which girls to commit to and which ones don't. And unfortunately, in today's day and age, with the promiscuity of females, men must go in with their eyes wide open. Okay? So
yeah. So I want to tell you a little bit. So I am a happily married man now. I am a Christian. Unfortunately, however you want to look at it, before I even heard about your, sleep with 50 women thing, in college, in high school, I did hook up with a lot of women, and it did teach me a lot of things. That being said, if I had the choice to go back and not do all that, it would have saved me a lot of trouble. I wouldn't have wasted as much time, money, and energy on these hoes that I would have spent on other things. It's like your life is a pie. When that pie is divided up into lots of different pieces, you got work, you've got school, you've got friends, you've got fitness, you've got side hustles, you got all these things that you want to do in your life, and then you're taking up your time to have these women be a part of your life who, number one, are not that important. And like you say, number two, don't provide much real value outside of what they got between their legs.
Yeah.
It just seems like a waste of time to waste that precious time that you have in your youth to continue to build, grow, and develop as a man when you could be putting in that time on yourself as opposed to spending your money on these women, as opposed to, staying up late, getting up late, not having a fresh start in the day because you were spending the night before hanging out with these
here's
hoes,
the thing
drunk,
though.
Doing all this other crap.
I get that. But caller, you got to understand that how long you been married for?
I've been married 4 years.
All right. Congratulations. But what I'm saying is this. You would not have been able to identify your wife as a good woman had you not been through the fucking ringer with these hoes.
Exactly.
You would have not been able to identify her and realize this is a good woman because I've experienced what is bad. There is no up without down. Yeah. There is no cold without hot. Okay, there is no left without right. So for you to identify a girl that is right, you have to go left for a little bit and realize, damn, I'm going to go right. And I'm glad that you found God and you're religious. That's fantastic. But you armed yourself with the prerequisite knowledge to be able to identify a good woman, and you did, and now you're married. But had you not had that experience, you would not be the man you are today, and you would not have been able to identify that woman as a good woman. God forbid, you probably could have committed to one of those girls before that was a time waster you just talked about. So your own experiences validate what I'm saying. Men in 2024 must go in with their eyes wide open. That's all I'm saying. I'm not telling guys not to be religious. I'm not telling guys not to go to church or to go to mosque or to go to synagogue.
So,
I'm saying adapt to the new normal and you choose what you want to do.
Not necessarily with the teachings itself, but with the influencers who are promoting the message.
Promoting what message?
Huh?
The trad lifestyle, the Christ lifestyle, whatever you want to call it. So you're basically what you're saying today is that your main beef really is not with the message of that. It's really the messengers who are promoting that message nowadays.
No, not even that. I don't have a problem with guys that say, hey, the Christ pill. Cool. That's awesome. But what I am saying is that guys got to get experience before they find the Christ pill. Put it this way, bro. Having the Christ pill is a privilege, not a right. You must earn the privilege of taking the Christ pill by doing your work and leveling up and understanding how women really are so you can identify the right girl and bring her in to that life of yours. Bro, women aren't the same as they were 50, 60 years ago, dude. Women aren't religious anymore.
They ain't even the same as they were when I was in high school.
I know. Things have changed drastically, haven't they? So religion and shame, because here's the thing, bro.
When I made my comment, I wasn't the most informed. I saw a lot of things on YouTube. And that's pretty much my only experience.
You saw clips.
After I made the comment, I got a lot of messages, a lot of comments, people reaching out to me to tell me, hey, you're wrong, dude. And I looked into it. And so there's certain things that I've changed my mind on now. And the main thing I wanted to see, because I've seen the back and forth between you and people about, the chase debate, that sort of thing, and it kind of brushed me the wrong way. I can see now that you're a little bit more pragmatic than what I was viewing on social media, because the algorithm kind of gets you into a space where you're seeing a lot of hate about you. You're seeing all those comments.
Okay.
And so
fair.
as time has gone on, I listened to the podcast today. I didn't see anything necessarily that I disagreed with. I don't really like the women you have on there. They seem like illiterate whores, but, that's neither here nor there. I know that's a part of your thing to expose them. So at this point, I'm glad you made the clarification about how you feel about religion, about Christianity in general.
Yeah.
And so I want to walk away from this and tell you thanks.
All right, no worries, man. Well, I was glad that we were able to have a fruitful discussion here and talk about it, and I'm glad that you understand what it really is. I mean, yeah, social media always tends to clip the negatives and take the context out, but yeah, bro, I've never been someone that hates religion. I think religion is fantastic because it keeps you grounded. However, I also understand that these women don't follow religion, and you need to kind of be able to speak their language first before you get the privilege of being able to bring her into a religious situation.
Even in church.
All right, man. Well, thanks for calling in. All right.
Take it easy.
All right, man. Bye.